First, we have to remember that in 1957, France did have a project in Africa, and this project was to create only one state to centralize all the Saheli states. They mean by this all the resources, uranium, oil, etc., etc. So inside this state, you will have a part of Mali, which was called French Sudan, a part of Mauritania, Niger, a part of Chad and Algeria. So this project was awarded and cancelled in 1962 because of the independence of Algeria. And when you watch the map of the OCRS, so it was named Organization for Centralization of Resources of Sahel, you can see that this map is very close to the operation map of the Teil initiative of Africa. The Teil initiative was created in 2002 with the help of several countries' armies, Mali, Niger, Chad, and Mauritania. And then they asked to Algeria and Tunisia to be part of it. It was in 2004, just after that the European Commandment General, whose name was Charles Wald. He was the general for EUCOM in Stuttgart. Just after he made a tourney, he went in Africa to meet some army people. He went to Ghana, Algeria, Nigeria, Niger, Tunisia. And so just after this, in 2004, Tunisia and Algeria joined the Teil initiative of Africa. The first operation was on the same year, in 2004, and it was an operation against what we called GSPC, which is the Salafist group for prediction and fight. It's a terrorist group in Algeria, which is coming from the GIA. That was a terrorist group who made a lot of terrorist attacks against France and other countries. But we know now that all those operations were under the control of a part of the Algerian state, not all the state, but a part of. And what is very strange is that the first operation against GSPC, the terrorist organization, was in 2004 in Algeria, and the number 2 of this organization is Abdelrazak El-Para. And Abdelrazak El-Para is someone who's been formed by the Green Beret in Fort Bragg, United States. So we can see that all the justification of the existence of AFRICOM, which is to work against counterterrorism, against drug traffic and weapon traffic, are totally linked at the fact that we can find some terrorist organization in Algeria mostly, which is helped by the United States. So we have to remind that between the project of the OCRS, French project awarded in 1962, and the Teil initiative, we have a lot of similar stuff. You can see the maps are very, very close. So we can see that now NATO and United States commands are recycling the old French colonization projects to get uranium, oil, and all of this, and to have some bases. So we have to be very clear about the fact that Algeria is going to get trouble very soon. And what is very, very impressive is the fact that all the stuff that were used against Libya and Syria are now used against Algeria. We have to remember that for Libya, everything started by a speech that was executed on the Geneva Human Rights Council, and the spokesman was someone named Slimane Bouchouguir, who is the spokesman and Secretary General for the Human Rights League of Libya. And this league, the Human Rights League of Libya, is linked to an international federation of Human Rights League, which is based in Paris, France. So he went to the Human Rights Council and he said that Gaddafi killed 6,000 people, and all those allegation has never been checked or verified by anyone because there is no proof for all of this. And now we can see that the same league, the same federation of league, is working in Syria. You have the president of the Human Rights League for Syria, whose name is Radwan Ziadeh, and is personally involved in the National Endowment for Democracy in America, United States of America. And they're going to use the same system, and they already did try to. And we can see that when it's going to Geneva with the Human Rights Council, there is always the same NGO which is helping everyone to get what they want. This NGO is named UN Watch NGO, which is an Israel NGO. So Israel is also involved in the cooperation and coordination of all those lies. And we can see also for Algeria the same Human Rights League, which is also connected to the National Endowment for Democracy. They have money from them each year since a few years, and this NGO is also linked to the International Federation of Human Rights in France, Paris. So we have to know that the president of the Algerian Human Rights League asked on April to the army to take the power back. And this appeal was in the name of the NGO, and it's something very important because it's in the army and in the DRS, the Algerian intelligence, that we can find the much people involved in cooperation with the United States. Because even if we can see that Bouteflika just hosted a conference for Africa, I think we can say that there is a response from the Algerian state which is unified, and that we have like opposition inside the state between some part of army, the DRS, the Algerian intelligence, and the political state. So when the president of the Algerian Human Rights League is asking to the army to take the power back, he's speaking to people who are, of course, close to NATO. So what is also interesting is that in Syria, in Libya, and in Algeria too, we have what we call a transitional council. And those transitional councils are totally linked to the Human Rights League, because, for example, in Libya you have 5 or 6 members or former members of the Human Rights League who are now members of the National Transitional Council. In Syria, a few days ago, in the media, they were saying that people are asking for assistance from NATO and Western countries. It was in all the medias, but it's wrong. This demand is coming from the General Commission for Revolution in Syria, which is the Transitional Council of Syria, and this demand is coming from them. It's a lie to say it's coming from the population. And this Transitional Council in Syria has been created at the end of August, so it's very something very close. And what is very strange is that we already have advertisements in France for them. I saw them yesterday in my city, in the street, whereas it's something very minor. And as he did for the Transitional Council, I guess that Bernard-Henri Lévy is very involved in the events to support Syria's revolution in France. For example, he just created a few weeks ago or a few months ago an NGO named SOS Syria to help the General Syrian Revolution Committee or something like this, the Transitional Council of Syria. So in all that case, like I said, this is connected to America, United States of America, and the National Endowment for Democracy, because the members of the Transitional Council in Libya were coming from the Human Rights League, and in Syria too, because it has been created by 44 organizations, and in those organizations, of course, you will find the Kurdish minorities corporations or NGO, because they've been used by Washington and Israel since a very long time. But you also find, of course, the National Endowment for Democracy NGO for human rights. And finally, in Algeria, we have exactly the same system. Because the one I told you about a few minutes ago about the Algerian Human Rights League is also a spokesman for the Transitional Council in Algeria, which name is the Transitional Council for Democracy and Development. And the number two, the one who is very, very close to him, is Saad, who is a very close friend to Bernard-Henri Lévy, with who he went to the Festival de Cannes on the last year. And also, is a representative, is someone very important in Algeria because he's like defending the minorities, the Berbers minorities, and we know now that Washington is trying to use those minorities to divide the states, like they've been trying in Libya, and where they want to try now is in Algeria. So we have to be careful about the next events, because history is repeating his own background, and this background is based on lies and on the fact that they will use at the same time the terrorist Al Qaeda and the human rights stuff. About Al Qaeda, we have to remember what happened in 1979 when Russia, the Soviets exactly, got into Afghanistan. This was part of the Brzezinski strategy, and another part of this strategy was to fund the Taliban and the people we now call Al Qaeda. And to do that, there was big help coming from the ISI, the Pakistan intelligence. And what is very funny and is that Bernard-Henri Lévy was already there in 1950, 1980 and 1981 and 2. And he created a very famous NGO in France, which name is Action Against Hunger. There is also a base in United States of America, in New York. And he was already here to help them to get food or to get an assistance. So what we call Al Qaeda now in the Maghreb, Al Qaeda for Islamic Maghreb, something like this, is totally coming from United States command and intelligence who was cooperating with United States. So when they called them freedom fighters, whereas they were terrorists a few months ago, we have to remind all those facts. The Democrats and America, United States of America, and now NATO have always used the terrorists and the human rights at the same time to destabilize some countries and to change the regimes they don't want. And the National Endowment for Democracy, as well as the International Federation for Human Rights, are working together in that aim. So on the 17th of the next September, there are some big demonstrations which are prepared in Algeria, and there is already a Facebook page. So everybody has to be careful. If on this day, this media speak about people using rifle in the demonstration and killing peaceful protesters, we have to remind what happened in Syria and in Libya before, and that all of this was a lie.